All right, we are going to clean the air filter or replace it if it's in bad condition on this Yamaha TW200. There's going to be 6 Phillips screws. So you're going to need a number 2 Phillips, and you're going to start by taking these 2 screws out first. There's 1, there's 2. You're going to pull the guard out and down, and on this side right here, there's a rubber grommet deal that holds it in, so you're going to pull it out. This little nipple goes in the rubber grommet, set it on the ground. Then there's going to be 4 more screws. Undo this one on the top right. The 2 screws that hold the plastic guard on are a little bit shorter. The 4 screws that are longer are the ones that hold the door to the air box in. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit. Oh yeah, get that guy off of there. All right. Very, very sticky and oily. Keep track of that seal that comes out of here. We're gonna take our deal inside and wash it out and clean it in the sink. And we're gonna clean up around the edges of this just in preparation for when we put the cover back on. I'm just using an engine degreaser and a rag for cleaning these edges off. Should make nice short work of it. It does not have to be perfectly clean, but it'll make you feel a little bit better if you just keep it a little bit cleaned up in there. Let's take this guy in and wash it. Just gonna start running some water over it, let the water get nice and warm. Any degreaser that you happen to have will work just fine for this, and then after you're done, probably just rinse it out with some Dawn dish soap. Honestly, this filter isn't even that dirty. I've gone about 3,000 miles on it, and I think what it is it's been winter, so there hasn't been a lot of dust in the air, and a lot of that's been street riding. Massage it a little bit. You don't really want to wring on it or twist it or squash it too much. Kind of just massage it to get any of those loose particles, but definitely you don't want to cause any damage to the filters. They're not expensive. You can get a really good aftermarket filter for like 17 bucks on Amazon. So if yours has any tears or cracks or anything in it, you definitely want it replaced. But if it's in good condition like this, then you should be just fine with washing it out and calling it good. Be extra careful not to do any damage to this. And if you do see any damages on it, just go to your dealership or do whatever you got to do to order a new one. Just trying to get the dirt and the old grease off. Not trying to stretch it or do anything crazy. I'm being super gentle with this. Just got some degreaser on the rag, and I'm just kind of running it through it to get all those big chunks off. To dry it, put it down on some paper towels, start pressing it. That will get 99% of the water out of there. Then I'm gonna take it, put it in front of a space heater for probably a good 30 minutes, and that should be enough where it's totally fine to use. Let's see, that ought to work just perfect, just like that. You could probably use a hair dryer, but I definitely would not suggest using a heat gun because that will just completely scorch it. All right, and so after you get it washed and you've inspected it, make sure it's all clean and good, get yourself a baggie, throw it in there, make sure it's clean in there, of course. Give your can a couple good shakes. You may actually want to use latex gloves, because this stuff is sticky icky. Let me get some actually real quick. Just start spraying. Get it thoroughly. Get it very thoroughly. Get the edges. Both sides. Stick it in the bag and start massaging it. You just want to give it a good massage. You don't want to be too rough with it, just like when you're washing it. You don't want to cause any damages. Just give it a good massage so you know that every little bitty piece in there is completely covered in oil. You also don't want it like completely soaked. You don't want it like stinking dripping all over the place and you fire your bike up and it just sucks it all in the motor. The spray that I would suggest using, I'm gonna leave in the description, and also I will leave the link in the description below for an Amazon link for the new filters. These ones are supposedly pretty good and they're pretty cheap. So if your filter is damaged, then you can order one up and throw it in. When you put your new one in, you'll do the same process with the oil and everything. Oh yeah. You can kind of see that it's all red. There's no gray spots. All All right, now that it's ready to put back on, you'll just look at the defining shape and matched up the way it goes back in there. Something like that. Put your gasket back in your deal. Make sure that's in there nicely. Set correctly all the way around. Of course, making sure not to do any damage. And then you're gonna put a little bit of grease on this. Put a bead of grease all the way around the seal. Something like that. And then you will place this guy on there. It can only go one way, and there's those little holes that line up with those little pegs. That is it right there. And then you'll press it back up, and this guard will press up against this guy, and it'll hold it in place and seal it. Just like that. And it should be a somewhat firm fit. It shouldn't feel super easy to get on there. It's okay if there's a little bit of a struggle. Put the long 4 screws in. It's easier to start a couple and then tighten them all the way in. And then just go around and snug them all up. Not too tight, just snug. Feel it get stiff, a little stiff, a little stiff, a little stiff, a little stiff. Stick your little peg in your little rubber hole, and then you're gonna rotate it up and finagle it under the seat and under that back guard. Take your 2 short screws, drop them in the holes. Not too tight, just a little bit snug, about like that. And that's all there is to it. She is ready to ride again.